Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Rebekahmillerrd. I'm a registered dietitian, certified personal trainer, and today we are not going into the kitchen because I want to talk about an important topic that needs to be discussed today. Black Lives Matter movement gaining a lot of media attention across the board. It is something that I want to discuss because being a dietitian, there is a big cultural and diversity problem. So I did bring a special guest today, and I'm so excited you're here, Shannon. So this is Shannon Curtis. She is a registered dietitian nutritionist, works in a clinical setting, and she is also the diversity chair of the Texas Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So I am super excited to have her here today to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, what we can do in the nutrition field specifically for us to be more informed and move forward to help all people of color either wanting to seek services from a dietitian or are looking to become a dietitian and what that entails and all of that. So welcome, Shannon.
Hi.
Shannon, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your role as a registered dietitian, and tell us about your new chair position as the diversity coordinator.
My name is Shannon Curtis. I'm a clinical dietitian in the Houston area with a side focus in fitness and nutrition education as well. And I am the incoming diversity chair for the Texas Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So a little bit of how I landed into this role. I was the diversity coordinator for the Southeast region of the Texas Academy last year.
Yeah.
And worked with the current diversity chair at that time on different initiatives, you know, what we wanted to see get started in the state. Because the role of the diversity committee and the diversity coordinators is actually new and kind of reinvigorated among the Texas Academy. So we worked on the goals and things that we wanted to achieve. Because of time restraints, because it is new to us, we only got a couple of things done. So I'm hoping to continue some of those things this year, as well as introducing some more things. I do have a little bit bigger staff this year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And still accepting people if you want to be a part of the diversity committee in Texas. And just really excited about, you know, the future, because this is now, like you said, more on the forefront of not only like the nation, but the dietetics field. And so I feel like I have a lot more ammo now.
I love that.
And encouragement to be able to put out some of these initiatives.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch base on the diversity issue to begin with. So when you look at dietitians across the board, what kind of people do you normally see? White, thin, females. So how would you think that would make people of color feel if they're looking for nutrition advice?
It can be discouraging to enter a setting and not really know much about that setting. Let's say if you're a student, and to have nobody look like you.
Right.
And in some cases, this wasn't necessarily my experience, but with others' experience, you know, those people who don't look like you were also maybe not as welcoming.
Right.
And so it can become a really volatile experience and environment if the right people aren't around.
Right.
And, you know, specifically with dietetics, with like she said, a majority of the practitioners are, you know, thin white females, or what they call normal body white females. And so when we go out into the community, if we're, you know, whether we're clinical, whether we're working in food service or public health, that can also set a barrier as well, because sometimes people of different ethnic groups, people of color, may not be as receptive to receiving public health information from people who don't look like them, because of the large distrust due to medical racism. Yeah. So there's so many layers.
I know. We're going to talk all about this today. I love that you touched base on, you know, the dietitian field and how maybe some Black dietitians or Black people that want to be dietitians are facing with not having, you know, mentors and people that look like them and that can relate to them. So can you kind of expand on some more struggles people of color have been facing in regards to becoming a registered dietitian?
Yeah, so I think really to appropriately answer this question, we should give our audience kind of a background on the requirements to becoming a dietitian.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. So you have to finish a 4-year degree, bachelor's degree, preferably in nutrition, because there are a set of prerequisites that you need specifically to apply for the dietetic internship. Now, some of the issues that arise, and not only for students of color, but for all students in dietetics, is that DPD programs are not informing students soon enough about the requirements to become a dietitian. So a student could be going through a DPD program thinking that, oh, after graduation, I'm going to become a dietitian. Oh, wait, no, sorry, you have to do an internship. And on top of having to apply this really rigorous process of applying, matching, there's a cost to the internship that may or may not be paid by financial aid, depending on what program you go to.
Yeah.
And so that's where more of the barriers come in for students of color, because as we know, ethnic people in the United States are more likely to be part of a lower socioeconomic background.
Yeah.
And so they may not have, parents, family members, friends, what have you, to give them the funds to be able to apply to the internship or even fund the internship itself. It's really discouraging at the end of the day. And, we're still fighting for a fair pay in the field. It's almost no secret at this point, dietitians are not the richest people around.
We don't do it for the money.
But we don't exactly get paid on an even playing field with other allied health professionals.
Yeah,
and so as a student who's, like I said, a person of color, lower socioeconomic background, wanting to be able to show their family that they made it and take care of their family when it's all said and done, it's not a very attractive route.
Right.
Because the return on investment tends to be very low.
Kind of the double-edged sword, you want to be a practitioner, you want to be a dietitian to represent people of color, and you want to be able to give good, accurate, evidence-based nutrition advice, but then you have the expensive internship that is the only internships that are paid are VA, and there's only a few of them, and you have to pay a hefty fee. Master's degree requirements have been pushed on us the past couple years, which is also going to be another fee on top of that. Yeah. And then you get out with your student debt after paying for the internship, paying for your master's degree, and then you come off with a salary that is below average. That's really tough.
It's really hard to deal with. And kind of to touch on that master's aspect, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the master's aspect because, for one, for those of you that don't know, there are standalone dietetic internships and then there are internships combined with masters.
Yes.
The standalone DIs, you have to pay out of pocket, are not paid for through financial aid. However, if you do an internship with a master's component, you are eligible for financial aid. And you are able to pay for the internship and all the fees associated with, whatever financial aid you may be eligible for. However, the problem kicks in that, what if you're not eligible for a lot of financial aid? What if you're still owing money after the fact? There's a lot of different things to consider, besides the fact that you're going to be in quite a bit of student debt when it's all said and done.
Yeah. Master's degree, and talking about the financial aid, are there a lot of, are there some scholarships out there for people of color right now for this?
So I believe that there is not a specific diversity scholarship on the Texas state level. I cannot speak for other states across the U.S. That is something that we're hoping that will come to fruition in the future.
Right.
And something that we're working on. Now, if you reach out, let's say you're an Academy member, you reach out to your member interest group. And typically the member interest groups are the ones that are focused on different ethnicities. So for me, I'm part of the called NOBADAN. It's National Organizations of Blacks in Dietetics and Nutrition. And they have a host of scholarships that they offer for students. Asian American and Pacific Islanders member interest groups probably has, scholarships that they offer to their students, and some of the other ethnic groups that may offer scholarships. But on a more, I guess, central basis, maybe not so much.
Right.
Now, actually, this is where I would bring up Diversify Dietetics.
Yeah.
So they're a group that's not associated with the Academy. They wanted a central group to uplift all dietitians and dietitians to be of color. And with that, I believe they do offer some scholarships as well.
Awesome.
You can link the website, diversifydietetics.org. And it's a really great resource. So if I'm being honest, that's how I kind of initiated teaching myself and immersing myself in the conversation of diversity in dietetics was by following their Instagram, following what they're doing, you know, signing up for the newsletter. And then when I found out that there are also efforts with this on the academy side as well, and that's how I started to get more involved.
That's awesome.
But it definitely initiated with a diversified dietetics. So
for sure. Are there other people that are also not represented in the dietitian field? You know, maybe lesbian, transgender. Can you touch base on that population as well?
Definitely. So that's something I was going to bring up earlier. So as far as the diversity committee, both nationally and at the state level, we don't only work to promote, you know, racial justice for dietitians and students of color, but also those part of the LGBTQ community, those with disabilities.
Right.
And we do get a little bit into religion and age and gender identity as well. We're not just working for ethnic differences or, you know, for people of different racial backgrounds to be seen, but also different sexual orientation, different gender identities, different disabilities. And actually, one of the resources that we can link below, the compensation and benefits survey, this year's compensation and benefits survey does show some information on some barriers for dietitians with disabilities being able to get a job in the field. Yeah, there's like I said, there's a lot of layers.
There's a lot of layers to this. So I do want to say that, yes, it is a challenge to be a dietitian. And I hope that throughout this movement and with Shannon's organization that she's building up, that we can get more people of color, different genders, different cultural backgrounds to represent the dietitian community as well. And that is our main goal. So everything that we've talked about will be linked in my description box that you can touch base on. You know, me being a white dietitian, how can me and other dietitians learn more about cultural background, you know, the weight history we've kind of talked about with the racial aspects? How can we learn more about diversifying our field, but also being able to diversify our practice as well? Yeah.
So I think the main thing is to educate yourself, listen to other dietitians and students of color or whatever underrepresented background that they are a part of. And not only to listen to them, but to believe them. Because I think a lot of the issue right now is, you know, we're telling these stories and we're saying, hey, this is my story, this is my experience. And then you've got somebody who's more privileged in whatever aspect saying, well, I didn't see it that way, so it didn't happen. And then you're kind of diminishing their experience. And so listening to people, believing people, and then from there, doing some more research, either by talking to more members of said underrepresented group. You know, you could do some online research. You know, there are tons of resources out there. And so also, as a white dietitian or as a white student in dietetics, don't be afraid to get involved in these groups as well. Like, you're certainly welcome to join Diversified Dietetics. If you're part of certain dietetic practice groups of the academy, a lot of them have a diversity committee or diversity sector as well. That you could opt to get involved in. So, like I said, use or educate yourself, listen to people, believe them, use your voice. And for everybody that's part of this movement, don't let up. Right now, it's kind of a trend. It has let up a little bit, probably like in the past week or so. But you just have to keep applying the pressure. This work cannot be done overnight.
Right. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep educating ourselves. And that is the whole point of this video, is to let practitioners know what we can do differently and what we can do to make real change. And can you kind of touch base on the BMI scale and more about that?
So diet culture is rooted in white supremacy and racism. And a lot of it stems from back in the day, you know, the white women not wanting to look like the fat black women over there, so to speak, or you know, the fat black slaves. It really stems from an area of just hate and discrimination. And so just to really educate yourself, because I think, you know, once you know the history of something, once you know the root cause of something, it's a lot easier to understand why it developed into the thing that it is today. and then understand why certain people might have an issue with it when you initially didn't see any issue with it at all.
Right. That's a really good point, coming back to BMI and all of that. And I will let you know, neither Shannon and I really take BMI as a science. It is just a measuring tool, but even then, I still don't even look at that. And can you
I teach nutrition classes as part of my job.
Yeah.
And I do add this little tidbit in there so that they can know, because most of my patients are Hispanic and Black. And I let them know, like, here are the BMI standards. Yes, we do still use it in a clinical setting. However, from what I've learned, that BMI is actually an arbitrary equation created by a mathematician that was based on normal-bodied white males. So
that's not even
exactly. So not only do you have, the gender aspect there, like women were nowhere to be found in this equation.
Right.
And then you have the ethnicity aspect there, and like all these other cultures that are not factored in when it comes to these standards. And then we've created a society where we think it's okay to shame someone based on these BMI standards that really have no clinical relevance to begin with.
That's right. If it tells you that you are overweight or obese, don't take that to heart, because you are more than that. Okay? There's a lot more factors that go into health than the BMI scale.
Yeah, and not only not take it to heart, I would actually challenge them on it. I really would. Because we need to start fostering, as a healthcare field, we need to start fostering more of an environment of weight neutrality.
Yeah.
And kind of going along the lines of, your health is not determined by a number on the scale.
Yeah.
There's so many other factors that determine your health other than this number that shows up when you happen to stand on a piece of metal,
Right, for sure.
There's just so many other things that come into play. So it's really not fair to say, you're this weight, you're this BMI, this is what you need to do, okay, bye. Because as a lot of you probably already know as well, if you've done a little bit of educating yourself in this subject, that public health standards are also very largely based on Eurocentric ideals and research. Research itself can be racist, so to speak, because a lot of the research is done on white people or Eurocentric, again, Eurocentric ideas, and not factoring in other cultures around the world, other ethnicities, other practices, other religions that may have different eating patterns.
Yeah, definitely. We all that. Yeah. So kind of touching base on the BMI and the weight loss and all of this, there's this big movement in the dietitian industry being the healthy at every size, but then also we have dietitians that are like weight loss dietitians. So kind of, can you touch base on those two movements right now and how that can pertain to race? And then also me being a white dietitian that niches to fat loss and weight loss, how can I be more effective in my approach to helping people without making it about you have to lose weight to be healthy?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, she mentioned HAES, that stands for health at every size. And now note, that doesn't say healthy at every size. It just says health at every size, meaning that everyone, no matter what size, no matter what their circumstance, is allowed to pursue health by adopting health behaviors. And the reason why it's worded in that way is because traditionally, our larger body friends, those who are overweight or obese, they see maybe thinner people in the gym. They see thinner people as influencers on Instagram and Facebook, and they think, okay, well, going to the gym isn't for somebody like me.
Yeah.
Or, I'm not allowed to go to this boot camp because they may feel intimidated by everyone there.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where that movement kind of stemmed from.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good movement because it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about, health is not just a number on the scale.
Absolutely.
That there are so many different, health behaviors that you can adopt to pursue health. And, sometimes your weight will go up or down, or it might stay the same.
Right.
And however, when you go to the doctor and you get blood work done, you see your lab values have all improved and you're, in healthy and good shape, then
That's a win to me.
Exactly. That's a huge win.
Yeah.
And I think, that also goes into, like with weight, you asked about weight loss and, being a weight loss dietitian. The big thing that I see a lot of influencers or dietitians doing that do happen to be white, female, and thin is that they post more content and decenter themselves because they don't want the image of them to get in the way of the message that they're trying to convey. And they don't want that to maybe hinder somebody's progress who may be on a healthy journey. Like I said, not weight loss journey necessarily, but like a healthy journey. And so, I think decentering yourself and not making yourself the image. I mean, because how many times do we visit an influencer's Instagram page and they say, hit me up, I'm a trainer, and it's like a picture of them and as evidence to like what they did to get in shape. And we always have to remember that's anecdotal. N equals 1. That's one person. Small sample size does not give the best results, does not yield efficacious results. So, I think really focusing on the root cause, like why do you want to lose weight? Do you want to lose weight because you feel like this may have a healthier outcome for you? Or are you wanting to lose weight because you are trying to hold yourself to some unrealistic ideal? Right. And you have to, and this is where the work for us comes in because we have to be very cognizant and in tune with, what perception and images and ideals and things, like, are they consuming? Like, what ideals and images do they have when they think of themselves hitting these certain...
So making it kind of like, it's okay to want to lose weight, but really understand the why behind it, understand the history behind it, and then also realizing that just because someone looks a certain way on Instagram doesn't mean that that's going to be your results. Yeah. It's about a healthy lifestyle, whether that be you want to lose a couple of pounds because you have high cholesterol and you want to improve some numbers, but being realistic about it being understanding that everyone's body and journey is different. And then coming from a place of, if you grew up eating a certain way, then let's still eat that way. Or, taking in consideration those things that you don't need to look a certain way to be considered healthy. And I think my place as a weight loss dietitian, and I'm glad that we're talking about this because I don't want to make those wrong things on social media and coming off incorrect too, is that I want people to want to lose weight not because they were told they had to, because they want to feel good. And whether it's 5 pounds, 2 pounds, 1 pound, or even gaining weight, we can address that in a healthy way, but while still respecting the individual and understanding their differences. And I like what you mentioned, that health doesn't always mean losing weight. It doesn't mean losing weight. There's so much more to health than just losing weight.
Yeah, that certainly. And, I kind of made a joke earlier with her that, people say they want to get healthy, but what they really mean is that they want to lose weight and they're almost selling their soul to have a different number on the scale. And then at that point, you have to really think, are you really being healthy, or are you just doing all these things that you think you need to do because you are not connected to the right resources. Right. And so that's why it's really important for us as dietitians to really kind of start taking up that space. That's why I really like what you're doing, by starting the YouTube channel, by kind of putting yourself in this space where you would typically have a trainer turned nutritionist, and no shade to trainers that want to become nutritionists. I was one. Yeah. Same. I was enthusiastic about nutrition first, but it was faster for me to become a trainer and start training while continuing my education in nutrition. I certainly didn't have the RD credentials overnight.
I trained for 3 years, or maybe a couple years before I even became a dietitian, so it's the same exact route. So that's awesome. So we talking about, the health at every size and the weight loss movement. And, there's a lot of people of color that are interested in bettering their health. So if you are someone that is looking for a dietitian that can represent you and look like you, we're going to be providing some awesome people in the dietitian field that can help you with weight loss, that can help you with healthy eating, finding a good relationship with your body. You can always reach out to Shannon because she's a freaking boss at this. I'm going to make sure she is linked below, her Instagram, her email, and her information, and then some other dietitians that we think would be a great fit to represent the diversity within our field.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we wrap this up, just to reiterate, if you are a dietitian that wants to be at the forefront of this movement, keep educating yourselves, keep reading. My description box below, we're going to have so many resources for you of places that Shannon recommends that you donate your money to. Get involved with Diversify Dietetics. And then if you're in the Texas area, join the Texas Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. We're going to be hosting meetings. She spoke at a meeting a couple months ago and rocked it. And like, we had an awesome conversation on diversity there. So don't be afraid to speak up, and then also reconsider your messaging as well. If you're wanting to be a role model or a mentor to other dietitians of color, put yourself out there for that. And then for people of color, if you're looking for a dietitian, you want to be healthy or you want to just learn, bring us your concerns. We want to listen to you. Whether it's me that helps you, whether it's Shannon that helps you, we want to listen to you. We want to help you. We want to make sure that you are taken care of and that you are listened to.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me today.
I'm really so excited.
Enjoyed this conversation.
I'm so excited. You're going to do huge things with this movement, and I cannot wait. Yes. I know where I'm going to be donating my money to Diversify Dietetics. I'm going to be signing up, and I'm so excited. So if you liked this video, please share it for people who need to see this. If you are a dietitian, like, comment. If you are a person that just loves nutrition and fitness and want to subscribe to my channel, feel free to do so. And then also go follow Shannon because she is awesome. All right, thanks guys. Y'all have a great rest of your week.